Hello, Sweet Tooth here. Hope our day is going well. Kuna Matata. Gonna play some more Perfect Date. Dating cats. Fiance has lost interest in this game. It's not what either of us thought it would be. We thought it was gonna be cute kittens, but it wasn't that. The music is really loud in this. If you can see how much I toned down the music in the recording, it is -40. -40 dB. That's how loud this is in my ear. Chapter 2. There's only 6 chapters? Okay. Right, I got some hearts. So... I should do some research. Go for 5, I guess. Time to round up some rowdy kitties. It's a sunny afternoon. Most of the cats are lazing on the beach. Perfect. Like shooting fish in a barrel. I double-check my supply list. Crate, treats, sedatives, snare, catnip, antiseptic cream for myself. I've got everything. I have a sick feeling in my tummy, but I ignore it as best I can. This is going to be a challenge, but I'm pleased the professor is trusting me with the more physical tasks. I walk out onto the beach, feeling like the child catcher. I keep reminding myself that I am doing this for the greater good, even if it makes me unpopular with the cats. I set up the crate in an unsuspecting location and keep the snare hidden behind my back. At first I stroll around, trying to look as casual as possible, whistling a tune as I walk. I get close to one of the smaller cats. I start to stroke her. I want this to be as painless as possible. The cat responds well to me. She even starts to purr gently. Are you going to come with me? The cat looks at me with big, wide, loving eyes. Come on then. I pick the cat up, carry her to the crate, and place her gently inside. I lock it shut, even though the cat makes no attempt to escape. Well, that went better than expected. This may be a good day after all. Emboldened by my success, I approach one of the slightly larger cats. Hey matey, shall we get in the basket? I give him a little stroke. He doesn't respond badly, although he doesn't seem particularly interested either. I put my hands on either side of his body, ready to pick him up. He doesn't look happy about it and growls a warning at me. Hey mister, it's going to be okay. We're just gonna go on a little trip, alright? As soon as I start to lift, all hell breaks loose. Yowling and hissing, he scratches my arms to ribbons. I try to get him into the basket, but he stretches out and I can't fit him in. Ow, ow, ow! Oh no! I know when I'm defeated, and I have to let him go. He scarpers. Scarpers. That's not a word I've ever seen in a long time. Off into the distance. I look down at my ravished arms. Note to self, wear long sleeves when on caging duty. That's it? Alright, recon. Interviewing staff. That security guard I met when I arrived might be a good lead. Time for a bit of interrogation work. I've been staring at the back of his head for a long time now. Too long. I'm starting to feel creepy. I just don't understand it. All he does is sit in that chair by the dock, eating egg sandwiches and doing crossword puzzles. How does a man like that become the security guard for a place like this? As far as I can tell, his job consists of greeting the boat to make sure nothing unauthorized gets on or off of it, picking up supply deliveries, and occasionally taking a long, lazy lap of the island to make sure everything's secure. I wonder what he knows about the research that goes on here, if anything. He doesn't seem to be interested regardless. I decide it's time to get to know this island bouncer and go to join him at the dock. I sit next to Zane, me on the sand, him on that chair. He's not wearing his big coat, and the short-sleeved shirt allows me to notice for the first time how surprisingly muscular he is. I never truly thought of him as security in the bodyguard sense, but now, squinting at him sideways, trying not to stare too obviously, I begin to see him in a new light. I pluck up the courage to talk. Hey Zane, how are you? Are you trying to start a conversation? He says this without looking up from his crossword puzzle. Oh, I suppose I am, yes? I don't get to chat to humans much in my job. Research Assistant 126. He rolls the words out like he's reading them. Oh yes, I guess that's me. So what does the number stand for anyhow? You don't know? He asks monotonously, eyes still glued to his crossword puzzle. No, actually, to be honest, Zane, I don't know much at all. There's a definite lack of intel sharing on this project. Which project would that be? This one. This whole research project that's going on. Is there more than one? Depends on who you ask. You. I was just asking you, really. I don't understand your job. I don't need to. I don't care about things I don't need to. What do you care about? Zane looks at me for the first time. You really want to talk, don't you? Well, there's not much else to do here. Besides, I'm interested in it at all. Aren't you? My interest consists of what's for dinner and when my next puzzle book's coming. When it's coming? You get it delivered? Comes with the mail. He's back to not looking at me again. The mail? You mean the parcels? And the letters, yeah. The letters? Who would go to the trouble of sending mail all the way out here when we have email? I laugh, but Zane looks very serious. It's safer sending mail the old-fashioned way. With email, there's viruses, hackers, worms, cyber terrorists. I get the feeling he's not very tech-savvy. Yeah, but anyone can open and read a letter, right? Not if I'm around. And besides, who would suspect that something important would be in a fragrant pink envelope? There's an awkward silence, and of course, being my usual socially inept self, I'm desperate to fill it in. Need any help with that crossword? I'm pretty good. I can even do the cryptic puzzle in the Daily Inquirer. This line usually gains me a little kudos, but Zane simply ignores me. I decide to just come out and say what's on my mind. I mean, it can't make things more awkward than they already are. Zane, have you ever noticed anything strange going on here? Cats behaving weirdly? Zane suddenly looks up, his eyes locking straight on mine, unwavering and hard. No. Have you? Well, not exactly, but... He's looking at me properly for the first time since we met. I have definitely captured his attention, but I'm too nervous to follow through. I'm just being silly. The lack of human company can get to me. Gives me daft ideas. Such as... He's still staring at me, as though he's trying to read my mind. Sometimes when I'm out tagging, I feel they're playing games on me, like children, hide and seek, that kind of thing. Some of those cats may be cleverer than any of us give them credit for. Now it's my turn to be intrigued. In what way? They know when to stay out of the sun. You're going pink. The moment, if there was one, is over. I decided maybe Zane isn't the best person to talk to about my concerns. Feeling unwanted and slightly dejected, I decided to head back to camp. I stand up and brush the sand off of me. What's a 5-letter word for solitude? Alone. Zane silently scribbles in his book as I leave. Man, that was like a big waste of time. Pink envelope, though. That's interesting. Could try that, I guess. Romance. Snooty Booty and McMurphy. Cannot do them. Cannot do those two, huh? I cannot do these two. Oh man, you mean I gotta go for Floofy Butt? I have to? Oh. Okay, I guess. Please don't show me murder again. Do hold your hand still, Brian. I can hardly see a thing with you shaking like that. I hold the binoculars stable in front of Floofy Butt's tiny cat face. He looks ridiculous. It's like you're not even trying, Brian. You're shaking like a leaf. My hands are totally steady, Major. Ever consider it could just be your eyesight? I'll have you know I have the keen eyes of a goat. Goats aren't exactly known for their vision, Major. That's just because the world is full of ignorami. Well, what can you see? I can only see a couple of mealers, lazing about, of course, scratching at their fleas. Filthy things, I tell you. Aha! What? One of the bigger ones is emptying its bladder. That could mean that they do eat and drink on a regular schedule. And if we were able to find out where their water supply is, we could lace it with a mild sedative and bring the incapacitated sample to the beach and... Please don't finish that sentence. No cats will be harmed during this mission. Oh, please. The subject will not be harmed. Just slightly bewildered for a day or two. But why, Major? Well, to examine it for a start. Also, I should like to see how they react when one of theirs goes missing for a change. Major, I only agreed to help you with this on the promise that you will not attempt to exact any kind of retribution on the elders. Examination is one thing, but if you can't keep your end of the deal, then I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to withdraw. Okay, I'll just observe. I replaced the binoculars in front of Floofy Butt's keen goat eyes. Well, what do we have here? Found something? I do believe I have. There's a few elders here who seem to be meditating. Meditating? Are you sure they're not just sleeping? Take a look, will you? Tell me they aren't meditating. I adjust the binoculars to suit my eyes, and I'm quite taken aback by what I see. Floofy Butt is right. The cats aren't sleeping. They are sitting in a circle around what is by far one of the stranger landmarks on the island, a large state of Bastet. Professor Popper has always dodged my questions about what on earth the statue of the Egyptian cat goddess of war is doing on this island. I'm even more intrigued now. The cats seem to be listening or contemplating, or even meditating. Well, Major, I'm sure there's a perfectly good... Hey, they could have had it as a pun. Perfectly. Good explanation for their behavior. Cats often behave quite strangely, I've found. Well, they're strange, and then they're strange. And my experience teaches me that the type of strangeness that this class are afflicted with is beyond acceptable. I believe the only way to protect us all is total disassociation. Major, do you hear yourself? We're here, practically trespassing on their territory, so that you can spy on them while they're doing whatever it is they're doing, and you want to disassociation from them? One must know one's enemy, Brian. How are they your enemy, Major? They've never done anything to you. Oh, no? Those Mealers are wholly responsible for the problems on this accursed island, and it's about time they were held accountable. They are the carriers of the cat virus. If it weren't for them, you wouldn't be afflicted with the illness. Oh, is that so? Because I distinctly remember it was you lot who deliberately put me in danger in the first place. The other cats are just cats. Just cats, eh? Oh, I see. I realize what I've just said, and although I don't intend it that way, the Major has taken it, I can see how wounded he is. I feel conflicted. On the one hand, I want to take a stand against his bigotry. It is not helping our progress, and I believe it may end up ruining our friendship. On the other hand, I know he has a good heart. As Trixie says, he's just stuck in his ways, and would be wrong of me to start pushing my views onto him. Perhaps I can lead by example and practice a little bit more tolerance myself. Just be quiet or push my views onto him? I don't know. Come on, Major, I didn't mean it that way. You know I have the highest regard for all cats, and particularly you. And I for you, Brian. However, I must say, I find it increasingly difficult to fathom how such an intelligent person as yourself fails to recognize such obvious truths. Okay, perhaps I haven't given you a fair hearing. Maybe my own opinions got in the way. So go on then, you have my full attention. Teach me, Major. Well, that's more like it. He pulls himself up and fluffs out his fur. It gives him an air of self-importance, so much so that, in spite of my promise to be open-minded, I'm already feeling a bit irritated. You see, what you and the other pedestrian-minded inhabitants of this island will not do is look at the undeniable evidence that this species is the cause of all of our problems. The evidence being... Well, firstly, they have segregated themselves from us and created a ghetto where we have been made unwelcome. That is an act of hostility. I want to point out that they haven't created anything. They have always been there, but I am practicing tact and diplomacy. Secondly, they carry the virus. Yes. Feline transitional gene. Quite. They are trying to infect everyone. Make us all like them. And they will have their way too if we don't fight back. I bite my tongue and resist telling him that it is far more likely that they are not trying to infect anyone. They simply want to live and let live. They probably don't even understand the effect their body fluids have on other species. Thirdly, it should be obvious to everyone that they have made no attempts whatsoever to learn our language. If they were congenial towards us, they would surely have tried to communicate with us by now. I try to keep my voice amicable. I know how frustrating it is when you can't make yourself understood, Major. Very frustrating. I'm glad you see that, Brian. At least I have one ally in all of this. Maybe now's the time to strike. You know what, Major? I'll bet that with your superior intellect and my research skills, we might be able to find a way to learn their language. I held my breath. Why on earth would we want to do that? To communicate. Have you lost your mind, Brian? To say nothing of your sense of smell. Huh? I doubt they have anything worthwhile to communicate. They are no more to us than an insect under a microscope. Oh. The smell, however, that is rather overpowering. Should we call it a day here and go somewhere where the air is more pleasant for our lunch? I'm feeling very uncomfortable now, and I want to get away to think. Actually, Major, I have to get back. I'm on feeding duty today. If you like, I can put something by for you. Very well. I shall call by the mess tent later. As I make my way back to camp, I can't help feeling I ought to have handled this differently. I wonder if honesty may have been made more progress with Floof. Diplomacy just feels like pandering to him, really. Gotta get some rest. I sit in the position Professor Popper taught me, legs crossed, back straight, wrist resting lightly on my knees and fingers formed into leaf circles with forefinger and thumb touching gently. I close my eyes and hear a rhythmic purring, slow and steady. My fur prickles at the sea breeze and my ears twist at the distant sound of feet on wood and seagulls crying on another, faraway place. The smell of the sea fills my nostrils, the taste of the salt fills my mouth. I begin to focus on my breath and the rhythm of my heartbeat, allowing my mind to drift. As I take a deep breath, the tide comes creeping toward me, as though I'm pulling it. When it's just centimeters away from my bare toes, I slowly release my outward breath to count of 5 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. With each beat, I push the tide back into the horizon until it's almost touching the rising sun. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5. And out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Drifting now, without attachment to thought, my mind free from worry and care. Oh, I thought he was a cat for a second. Like, full on a cat. Alright, more research. Once you complete your research, your time on Cat Island will come to an end. Holy crap, really? Snooze has brought me something intriguing. I better check it out. Brian, are you still sleeping? You really ought to be awake by now. Snooty Booty, are you awake? Are you okay? What are you doing in my tent? All this lazing about is very bad for your complexion, to say nothing about the dragging effects of the delicate tissue around the eyes. Is there something I can help you with? Possibly. I have something I want you to look at. Right now? What time is it? Time you were active. Come along. Well, at least let me get ready. Very well. Snooty Booty sits down and starts grooming herself. After a moment, she looks up again. Why aren't you ready yet? Can you leave the tent so that I can get dressed? For goodness sake. Snooty Booty rolls her eyes and walks out. I get dressed resignedly and follow her. What do you think it is? I'm intrigued. We are on the beach, staring at a partially buried bottle sealed inside a plastic bag. It looks as though it has only recently washed up. Well, there's really only one way to find out. I pulled the bottle out of the sand. It has some kind of document or note in the bag along with the bottle. What is that thing? Read it to me. It's a good thing I'm just as curious as Snooty, or I would be feeling a lot more irritable by now. I carefully unseal the bag and unfold the paper. I read the note out loud. Initial tests on the most recent formula are encouraging. Subjects 6 through 18 appeared visibly younger. Moderate to severe side effects noted, including increased hair growth and marked mood alteration. Subjects 1 through 5 have major complications, some new small tumors, skin irritation, partial blindness, and memory loss. We need you to look into this, check for contaminants, and continue to iterate on the formula. Appeared visibly younger? Snooty Booty, is that the most important thing you gathered from this report? You're quite right, Brian. We ought not to trust it. That note would have been written by anyone. We shall conduct our own experiment. Apply the cream to my skin. Have you lost your mind, Snooty Booty? Did you not hear what I read out? Tumors, blindness, memory loss. Statistics bore me. You should know that by now. Let's live a little. I'm willing to take the risk, in the name of science. No, we're not taking any risks, Snooty Booty. You wait here while I go and get my kit back from the lab. Let's see if we can't work out what this stuff is made of. I was hoping the lab would be free, but the professor is in here making some notes. Ah, hello, Brian. I thought you were taking a day off from the lab today. Oh yes, I am, Professor. I just wanted to check on something. I can't take the test equipment away from without the professor getting suspicious. I'll have to come up with some kind of excuse. Alright. Well, I wanted to get ahead on some of the field work. There are some samples I found that I think could be useful. I pick up the field kit bag. Popper looks up from his work. Oh, what sort of samples? I have to make this believable, but also invite no other questions. The samples are fecal. Fecal? Yes, a large poo, sir. It has rather interesting properties. Jolly good. Off you go, then. Nailed it. I take the bag and leave. I think Professor Popper is probably evil. As I approach the beach, it becomes clear. Snooty Booty has managed to break into the ointment. She appears to have spilled some and is now rolling around in it. Snooty Booty, what are you thinking? This could be very dangerous. The only danger here is this ghastly and sand sticking to my delicate skin. Do help me get rid of it, Brian. I try to wipe the sand off, but it is stuck like glue. Underneath the layer of sand, I can see her skin is very pink. There's no time to lose. I pick her up and run to the ocean, trying to use the seawater to clean off as much of the ointment as I can. Put me down, what on earth? I've never been so humiliated in my life. She twists out of my grip and scampers off in a huff. I think I've got it all off, so I leave her to it. Now back to the samples. There's not much I can do here on the beach, so I'll just have to wait until Professor Popper has finished in the lab. Well, that was quick. As luck would have it, the professor needed to retire to his tent earlier than usual. He has to read some research papers that arrived from the mainland this morning. So now I can continue looking into this ointment. I begin by testing the substances for several common compounds found in cosmetics, but it's negative for all of them. I widen the tests for other organic compounds. I get a match. About 30% of the ointment is cat saliva. If they're using saliva from the cats on the island, they could be infecting all their test subjects with catification. But where have these other side effects come from? I run the ointment again, this time looking for known pharmaceuticals. Before I can get the results back, Snooty Booty comes trotting in. I just thought you should know that the security guard is coming this way. You should make yourself scarce before he arrives. Not that I care what happens to you after you threw me into the ocean. I have no time to finish this experiment now, but I will work on it later in the privacy of my tent. I take my things and run before Zane arrives. I think Professor Popper is evil, and I think the security guard is just strictly there to help him. And they, like, I don't think they care about the assistants at all. Like, the assistants are pretty much test subjects themselves. I probably can't do any more of this, can I? Yeah, I'm not allowed to do any more of that. Interesting. I guess. We've been walking for ages, Major. I don't have much longer before they'll expect me back. Almost there. It needs to be as close to the danger zone as possible to deter snoopers. Few cats and even fewer humans come this far out, which ensures that my deposits are safe. Deposits? This is an act of trust, do you understand? I believe that our recent disagreement and resulting reconciliation has made our bond of camaraderie stronger than ever, and I would like to solidify our reunion with the sharing of something quite private and important to me. What? Come on, man. Don't do this. I feel slightly awkward and mumble incoherently in response. Yes. Well, what's past is past. Water under the bridge and all that. I am delighted, though, and that you have reviewed and modified some of your stronger opinions, Major. Updated your map, so to speak. Indeed. Though, for the record, I'm still uneasy about the Mew elders. But I grant that finding a way to speak with them might provide more insight than I'd assumed. Well, we really are on the same page now, Major. We come to a halt. I can smell the pungent scent of the elder cats. I've not been this close to them since that first night, and it makes me uncomfortable, but I feel surprisingly reassured to be with Floofybutt. This is it. We must be completely silent now, so you will have to cease that unattractive sound you're making. I'm out of breath, Major. I can't help it. What I'm about to show you has taken a long time and a lot of effort on my part. If anyone else should get wind of its whereabouts, or even existence... Yes, okay, Major, I get it. I swear the most prestigious of pinky promises that I will not utter a word to anyone about whatever I see today. Floofybutt seems satisfied and makes an effort to straighten himself out before motioning towards a large tree. This, my dear, is my treasure. Oh my goodness, what a handsome tree you have there, Major. Very tall and proud looking. Congratulations. Oh, for goodness sake, come on over here. Floofybutt leads me around the enormous tree to its hidden side, which has a large hollow in it that looks like it leads to a tunnel. Good God, man, are you digging an escape route out of here? What on earth are you twittering about? Use your eyes more and your mouth less, my dear. I noticed then that hidden in the dark recess of the tree is the outline of a large object which my eyes won't allow me to see clearly. What is it, Major? Don't be shy, Brian. Get in there and have a proper look. I have no choice but to crawl into the cavity for closer inspection. I run my fingers over the item and deduce that it is made out of old splintering wood and has cold metal adornments on either side. I use them to drag it out of the tree, and in the half-light I am somewhat unsurprised to see that it is an old-fashioned treasure chest. I would expect nothing less than from the Major. Floofybutt is looking at me expectantly. Well, open it, my dear. You needn't worry about the lock, it's quite broken. I do as instructed. Oh my giddy aunt. Major, how on earth? The chest is full to the brim with all sorts of shiny things. Jewelry, gems, coins, trinkets, ornaments, baubles, and all manner of curios. Fluffybutt lets out a loud laugh. Allow me to regale you, human, with my vast adventures and conquests. I settle down and allow the Major's voice to wash over me as I play with some items of frippery from Frippery. Frippery? What kind of word is frippery? From the chest. Ah, that coin you're holding. There's a very interesting story attached to that. Do you know how old it is, Brian? I do believe the date on it should still be legible. I remember the night I found it. I'd gone for a walk along the beach. It was blustery and dark. I feel for the first time how exhausted I am. The walk has sapped me of all my energy. And as I fought with the elements, I look ahead and notice the sky is much darker. I'm laying down, although I don't remember doing so. Valiant and victorious to thunderous applause. I hear a low grumbling sound, thunder, and a flash behind my now closed eyes. Surely it's storm, but there's no rain. That's odd. No wet, just warm and dry and hard to breathe. And I bellowed defiantly, "You cannot have them!" But the Muellers here were already circling. I should really get up now. Oh, it seems my eyes won't open. That's a pity. As I bit into the still beating heart. I do believe I'm paralyzed. That is a shame. I try to move my fingers. Nope, they're not listening to me. Purrfect. Wake up. We have to get you out of here this instant. Hup, you get it? That's it. Come on. As I come to, the world looks dark and distorted. I must be walking because trees are passing my line of vision. My hands hurt. I look down at them, and they are pressed firmly to the earth. One moving in front of the other. I must be crawling? I don't know how much time has passed, but I wake up in the sand. I inspect my blistering hands. Fluffybutt is sitting next to me, facing the sea. What the heck's going on? Did I dream all that? No. You're awake. No, I'm afraid you weren't dreaming. What happened? It was my fault. I took you too close to the danger zone, and in your current state, you couldn't handle it. In my current state? Your feline transition is still in its early stages. It seems to be progressing particularly slowly in you. So I'm still very vulnerable to the effects of the Elder territory. Quite. I was foolish. I didn't think. I was too interested in myself, my stories, my treasures, to protect you properly. Please forgive me. It's fine. Oh, it's okay, Major. Don't upset yourself. I had a lot of fun until the whole blackout thing. Fluffybutt looks genuinely pleased. Really? I've been told I am a very good raconteur. What? What words are these? One of the best. How much did you hear? I'm sorry? How many of my anecdotes did you hear before you succumbed? I'd be happy to repeat anything you missed. Oh no, really, Major, I'm fairly certain I heard them all. Well, if you're quite sure... I am, and besides, I think I have a migraine coming on. Well, in that case, you must allow me to nurse you until you are fully recovered. Okay, Major, it's a deal. Major? Yes? Why do I have earrings in my hair? I had to pelt you with jewelry to get you to wake up. Ah, of course. If you don't mind, Major, I think I need to get back to sleep. I lay back down on the warm sand and curl into a ball. I'll be here when you wake up. I drift off and dream that I'm a cat. That doesn't count as rest? I would really think that would count as rest or something. Might as well. I rushed out to the forest on Floofy Butt's insistence that I meet him at the location of his treasure chest. After the incident, we called on McMurphy and Kibbles to help us drag it to a new spot, further away from the Elder territory. Major, you okay? I was in the middle of preparing lunch when I received your urgent summons. Quite. I was pawing through my collection just now and couldn't help but reflect upon some of our adventures. Oh? So you dragged me away from the kitchen to reminisce? Indeed, I have grown rather fond of our expeditions together. I do seem to find more unique articles when you accompany me. You trained me well, Major. Any advancement I've made in the treasure hunting field is entirely thanks to you. Yes, I mean, no. You have a natural ability, rather impressive. You flatter me, Major. Not at all. I'm a fair cat, and it is my belief that good work deserves just reward. Reward? Indeed, and so I felt would only be right to let you keep an item from my inventory so that you may start a collection of your own. It's too kind of you, Major. I'm touched. Yes, well, let's have a look, shall we? You may choose whatever you like, my dear. Absolutely anything. I peer into Floofy Butt's treasure chest. All the gems and bits of precious metal sparkle and glint in the sunlight. I gently move some of the more bijou trinkets out of the way and dig deep for the good stuff. Wow. I grasp a red gem almost the size of my fist. I wonder if it's a ruby, but before I can begin to examine it, Floofy Butt has swiped it away with his paw. No idea what that is doing in there. I think I see how this is going to go. Anything else, Brian? Whatever you like. How about this? I entangle a string of pearl, creamy and iridescent. String of pearls? Creamy and iridescent, clearly very good quality. Even to my untrained eye, Floofy looks uncomfortable. Yes, they are rather special, aren't they? I do have a particular fondness for them. I let him off the hook as my eye catches sight of something dull and cheap looking. Major, what on earth is this? The filthy bottle sticks out like a sore thumb amongst the shiny baubles Floofy usually likes to collect. Oh, that! Heavens, I forgot all about that thing. It might suit you. If you shake it, you'll hear something rattling about in there. I do think it contains a note or a script of some kind. He's selling it to me. Silly, really. I did get into my head to find a way to open that bottle, but the cork is wedged in tight. I choose this to start my collection, Major. Really? That old thing? But I can tell he's absolutely delighted. Yes, and I have an idea how to open it. Go on, you have my attention. I whip off my apron and loosely wrap it around the bottle, then smash it unceremoniously against the side of a tree. Good gracious, Brian, how lively of you. I have a feeling the real treasure is this. I carefully pick the parchment from amongst the shards of glass and cast a cursory eye over the faded scribbles. A genuine message in a bottle. This could fill in so many blanks about the history of this place. A piece of paper? Oh, Major, this is not just a piece of paper. This is better than anything I could have hoped for. Well, if that's what you deem to be treasure, then please be my guest. Thank you so much, Major. I grinned from ear to ear. I must go now, though. I'm late for lunch duty. I excitedly kissed Floofy Butt on his furry head before dashing back to base. Recon 13. Awesome. Well, it's time to rest and hope I don't turn into a cat so that I can finish my research. You had a lively nap and wake up feeling revitalized. Your energy has been restored. Magic! Oh, okay. I'm taking a light stroll along the beach, walking off my dinner, when I spot a familiar shape in the distance. Major? He began slinking away, but I'm sure he must have heard me. Hey, wait. Floofy stops, but makes no move towards me. Oh, Brian, I was just enjoying this lovely evening. It's dark and stormy. Is everything okay? He seems very distracted. Yes, all in good order. I haven't seen you for a while. A paranoid person might think they were being avoided. Well, it's a good thing that you're not paranoid then, isn't it? I suppose so. There's an awkward silence. Well, it must be getting on. Mice to catch, you know. There aren't any mice here, Major. Just a turn of phrase, Brian. But I'm sure you have things to be getting on with. Actually, I have some time if you'd care to stroll together. The ginger Tom shifts uncomfortably. Actually, I have other plans. Really? He's not forthcoming with the details, and just as I suspect he was making up excuses, I hear a long howling sound coming from the direction of the forest. Then, to my surprise, Floofy Butt lets out a similar call, and his demeanor changes. Sorry, Brian, I really must go. Oh, I see. The penny finally drops, and I realize he has a date with another cat. I feel rather embarrassed. Why, Major, I'm pleased for you. Really? Of course. I must say, I'm glad to have your blessing, Brian. I believe you and I have become good chums over the time we spent together here. I rather think you would like to be my new companion. They are so forward-thinking, and they always endeavor to challenge my lazy prejudices. I think you'd improve. I do, Major. It sounds like you found a real catch. I notice a slight feeling of regret rise within me, but try to muster up a smile. Thank you, Brian. You're a good friend. But his eyes are focused on where the sound came from, and I can tell he's itching to go. Have fun, Major. I rather think I will. And off he darts, moving faster than I'd ever seen him move before. I stand still for a moment, watching the place he's disappeared to, and I feel a wave of utter loneliness wash over me. Interesting. Can't do anything else. Might as well. Follicle miracle. It's time for some serious testing in the labs. I'm intrigued to see what kind of work the professor has up his sleeve. My stomach is queasy. I really don't want to do this. It's strange. I'm used to treating subjects with medication and injections, but something about this doesn't feel right. Hello, you? I smile at the gentle cat on the table in front of me. I look at the syringe in my hand. I turn to the professor. What are we testing for with these meds again? He looks up from his desk. Is there a problem, Brian? I've already told you it's supposed to stimulate hair growth. Why do we need to stimulate hair growth? Why indeed. However, ours is not the question why, Brian. The likes of you and I perform the tasks set out by the people who pay our wages, such as life, eh? The professor returns to his work, and I understand the conversation is over. I look back at the little cat. His name is Smokey. He's a Lykoi cat with very short, fine hair, a real sweetie. I suppose the professor is right. This is just my job, and although I feel terrible, I find a way to ignore the pangs of guilt and inject Smokey with the medication. He squeals, but it's over quickly and he can return to his cage. How long does this usually take? The professor looks up again, slightly irritated. I don't know, Brian, but you're being paid to find that out, aren't you, my dear? Why does everybody say my dear? Oh yes, of course. I make a note of the time and observe the cat. After 5 minutes, there's no noticeable change. 10 minutes, still no change. After half an hour, I think I notice his hair looks a little different, but I suspect my eyes are playing tricks on me. 1 hour in, and all of a sudden I can see the hair is visibly longer and seems to be continuing to grow. I must say I'm very impressed and a little confused. I decide to take a tea break. Smokey seems content to nap for a while. Can I get you a cup of tea, Professor? Oh no, I don't know how you can tolerate the foul stuff they brew up in the mess tent. I have my thermos of coffee here, thank you. Fair enough, I'll be back in a bit. I've only been gone for 10 minutes at the most, but as I enter with my mug of tea, I instantly notice a drama taking place in Smokey's cage. I find it hard to stifle a laugh. Oh my goodness. Professor, have you seen this? Professor looks up, exasperated by another interruption, but then he notices the cage. Oh dear. Well, don't just stand there, Brian. Get him out. I open the front of the cage and pull out the large hairball that Smokey has turned into. His fur tumbles over my arms as I cradle the bewildered cat. Well, I never. Very interesting, isn't it, Brian? I think it's still growing, Professor. I do believe you're right. Perhaps we should consider the clippers. The professor hands me a small set of silver electric clippers, and I immediately begin using them on the ever-expanding Smokey. I continue to shave off the next 15 minutes until he finally seems to run out of fur. Man, that's a lot of hair. The heck? We both stand staring at the pile of fur at our feet. Just keep a small amount for testing and put the rest of it out the back. Mara can dispose of it later. Mara? Mrs. Marigold. Excellent work today, Brian. Most interesting findings. Thank you, sir. Although the results have nothing to do with me, I'm left feeling a tad guilty about Smokey's ordeal. As I place him back in his cage, I check for any signs of trauma, and then satisfied he's okay, I awkwardly take my leave. Huh. I'm sitting on my bunk, looking around at the empty tent that has been my home for the past 8 weeks. It's astonishing how much rubbish you can accumulate in such a short period of time. It's taken me hours, but I finally sorted everything out and have my bag packed. In some ways, I wish I was staying, but I know if I'm going to make any more progress on the antidote, I will need expert help, the kind I can only get on the mainland. So it's time to head out. There's just one last thing left to do. I make my way to a place where Floofy Butt and I have spent so much time together. I was hoping I would find him here, nosing through his collection of treasures and artifacts. The hollowed-out tree looks almost sad, neglected. I remain a safe distance to avoid the effects of the danger zone, but even from this far, I get the feeling the Major hasn't been here for a while. I'm gutted. I wanted to say goodbye in person. Major, are you here? When I'm satisfied he's nowhere around, I take out the small pillow I made from one of my t-shirts. It doesn't seem a lot, but I put so much effort into making it. I've stitched our names in a little heart, and I drew some seagulls around the edges and stuffed it with catnip. I thought he might appreciate a bit of comfort with his advancing years. I only hope Snooty Booty doesn't get her claws into it. I place it at the foot of the mighty tree under a couple of palm leaves and make my way to the dock without looking back. Joe, the strange boy who runs the ferry with his dad Bob, is waiting on the jetty. You're almost late. I'm not in the mood for this nonsense today. I feel miserable. But I'm not, though, am I, Joe? Almost late is not late. Something got your goat? I ignore him and make my way onto the boat. Then just as we begin navigating our way out to the open water, something on the land catches my eye. I can just make out the shape of a fluffy orange blob waving from the end of the jetty. Oh my goodness. And I wave back frantically. Someone come to see you off? Yes, it's the Major. Bye, Major. It's been an adventure. I can't see no one. You going a bit mental? Look, just there, the ball of orange, the tomcat. Joe's gone very quiet. When I glance at him, he's eyeing me suspiciously. Oh, that's a shame. What? Dad? Some, wrong, son? This one's sick. I don't understand. I'm fine. Bob appears from the driver's cabin. That's all right, son. You go take care of the steering wheel, good lad. Joe does as he's told, leaving Bob and I face to face. Is there something wrong, Bob? I'm afraid there is. It's not personal. I happen to like you. He's reaching into his pocket and is aiming something that looks like a pistol at me. I laughed nervously. This must be some kind of prank. It's just, we can't have you going back to the mainland and infecting normal people, can we? Before I can answer, everything goes black. I didn't have any successful dates? Wow, and Brian got shot. Holy crap, Brian got shot. Holy crap. Wow. They killed him. They killed Brian. Anyways, that's going to do it for this video. I want to thank you for watching. Feel free to leave a comment. Hope you have yourself a good day, and this is Sweet Tooth signing off. Love you.